Greetings and welcome to the Modern Alchemist channel. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is Alchemy Journal. Today we're going to talk about the kind of books that I read. I've been asked this several times, and I had considered putting this as part of an Ask an Alchemist, but really I realized that this question had the potential to actually offer what kind of books do I read, like right now as well as in the past. So we're going to talk about the book that's come across my desk recently that's just absolutely delighted me. It's super duper fun. I almost want to spoil it and show it to you now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to actually answer briefly the other question. What kind of books do I read? And specifically, I'm going to answer it by way of anecdote. When I was younger, going to Utah Valley University, I had a professor. I had several professors who I considered mentors, but one in particular really stood out to me, and it was because his office was conspicuous by the lack of everything that was in it. It was very, very Spartan, very few books, whereas when I'd go to other professors' offices, they'd just be loaded with books everywhere, all the books they'd collected, and I realized as I've grown older myself over the years that there is this kind of natural arc that takes place where you feel the need to collect a lot of books when you're younger because they're sort of like trophies. I've read this and now it's mine and I've collected it. But by the time that you're done, as you get to a certain stage, you will say what my mentor said to me in address to my question. I said, why no books? Why are they absent? And he turned around and he pointed and says, no, I have some books here. And he looked at this, there were scriptures there and different sacred texts, all in one spot, just took a small spot on a shelf, maybe 24 small books really, and half of those he said were maybe sentimental. But there were no commentaries. There was no derivative work. And his point was, he says, you reach a point where you no longer want to read the derivative work. You no longer want to read the commentaries. You need to read the core material. And I reached that point years ago because I understand now as a scholar that when you're reading the commentaries, you're distilling someone else's thinking through someone else's thinking. And so often it's better to do your own thinking and distillation if you have enough educational background behind you to bridge that gap. And that really only comes with time and study. I mean, there's no replacing diligence and discipline, right? It's just, you either have it or you don't. You either exhibit it in your life or you don't. And if you don't, then you've accepted the consequence of that lack of discipline, which means that you're going to have gaps in your knowledge or gaps in your understanding. So, with relation to that then, I highly recommend this website. It's called the Internet Sacred Text Archive. Now, this is everything. I mean, this has topics, let's see, looking at it, the Age of Reason, Alchemy, Astrology, Atlantis, the Bible's in there, Book of Shadows, Buddhism, Celtic beliefs, Islam is in there, the I Ching, pretty much, I mean, the list is long. It's huge. These people have pulled together literally every sacred text. It's the sum of all of that knowledge in one spot. And it's the core material. So it's very, very valuable. I highly endorse their work. You can donate to them or purchase from them a CD. I've done that before so that you have it with you. And it really is a valuable thing. And you get to read the core material. And that's truly the more valuable time that you can spend is by reading that. But you have to recognize that you need to exceed your ethnocentric perspective. You have to go beyond it and look at it from the standpoint of our ancestors. Now this paradigm shifting that I'm talking about, it's going to come back into discussions on Superhero Smackdown or Esoteric Smackdown Superhero Edition, where that will be important because the way superheroes used to be characterized resonated with the people of their time, and the way they're characterized today resonates with us. You know, that's why Superman went from underwear to no underwear. You know, It's because the meaning behind that symbol of his shorts was lost on the new people, the new generation. So there's no point in keeping that symbol if it's suddenly becomes a point of laughing at him as opposed to understanding. So go to the core material. Here it is, Internet Sacred Text Archive. Really, 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 really valuable resource. So that is my library, really. That is it now. I do 90% of my reading through these kind of resources and others where I'm looking at the core material, as opposed to print media takes a long time to generate. Now, getting to print media, however, there are very many valuable books that are in print media. You don't always have to find it online. Don't get me wrong. One of the more fun finds that I've had is this one right here, Astrologically Incorrect. This book is super duper fun. And I ordinarily don't buy these kind of books, but I'm in Barnes & Noble and the title just grabbed me because I knew they were going to be messing with the PC culture. And they sure do. And it's so delightful. The back reads, Astrology for the Wicked. Unlike other books that just skim the surface of the 12 signs, Astrologically Incorrect exposes the fetish, neuroses, and hang-ups of each and every member of the zodiac. Astrology is for the easiest way to find out how another person's mind works. We need to talk about that. Aimed at cosmic novices and astrologers alike, this is entertaining and edgy guide shows us how to wield your powers by using the sun signs and rising signs. And he actually supplies rising signs as well, the combo. So it's just fun. It's so naughty. He totally outs like each sign for all of their bad behavior and teaches you how to kind of navigate around it, whether you're dealing with a Cancer who's like that all the time, right? If you see a Cancer doing that and every 10 minutes they're like venting like Old Faithful, you better track back in your day and figure out what the heck you did wrong. Or what might have gone wrong for your Cancer friend or boyfriend or husband or wife. Because sure enough, that's going to be the case. And it, like other things, like how to get that cute Gemini girl to go out with you, or how to deal with your Virgo boss. Like all of this kind of stuff, it's all in there, and it's just really well written. You don't have to read it cover to cover. You literally can just like skim through it. And that's what makes the book really cool. Now, there's a dark side to all of this discussion, and it needs to be discussed. And the dark side is, if books like this are so pretty darn accurate, where's free will? What happened to that? So here's the clincher, and this is where you can find the bridge, okay? Because this kind of stuff, this is why, biblically, astrologers were stoned to death, right? Because now the free will is gone. And because people are stamped out, boom, you're born in the middle of July, therefore you're a Cancer, have fun with that. And or boom, you're born early part of October, you're now a Libra, enjoy. It's these are things where we take for granted. And sure enough, Penn and Teller's all like, hey, they're too general, and everyone picks the stuff they like, and they have many, many valid points when they try to debunk this stuff. This is how I think it works. Books like these work wonders when you are surrounded by ego-driven people, where their higher self does not engage. And that's the split. That's the thing that was broken. Once upon a time, I am certain, once upon a time, if you were born at a certain period, your die was cast. And we literally have caste systems that are built around that historically, and some still currently around the world, where if you're born into the merchant caste, this is what you get, and that's it. And similarly, not just an economic caste, but then also religiously, astrology was looked to divine what kind of person would ensoul this new baby, right? But that was broken when our planet was captured by the stars. We've discussed in other videos, and we will continue to discuss that. That the things which are confounded and messed up here are a result of the many mercies which have been extended to us, right? the electromagnetically, so that it causes a peppy, all this chaos to reign everywhere. That chaos also broke this stuff, so that if your ego is under control, if it's managed, the higher self can look at these behaviors and say, I choose not to be inflamed as I probably ordinarily would because I'm this sign. Or I choose not to be offended because I'm choosing to. Anyway, this book itself, awesome, fun read. It's not too expensive. It's like $14 plus tax if you have tax wherever you live. You can get it at Barnes & Noble or pretty much, I guess, anywhere they sell books, because it doesn't look like it's super duper special. But it definitely, the book itself is very clever, very on point. So if you're new to astrology, definitely it's going to be the thing that'll help you kind of put a face to it. And this is the last thing I want to say about putting the face to it. It deals with the principle of correspondence, which is a Hermetic and alchemical principle, which is most easily stated as above, so below, and as below, so above. We always forget the as below, so above. We just look up there and then we think down here. The truth is that this is a reflective property, so that as below, so above. So when you realize that you are an electromagnetic being, surrounded with electromagnetism, driven by it, your consciousness is driven by it, and you have a personality, you have likes and dislikes, it is possible to extend your mind upward and recognize that if you, a simple human who is electromagnetic, have somehow or another developed a personality, is it possible that celestial objects much larger and more complex than yourself might also exhibit these kind of personalities? This is what our ancestors tried to capture as they described in as many ways as possible the planets and the constellations and their passage and their cycles, because they saw within themselves the same kind of patterns as they were witnessing above them. And that's what makes it exciting. So, enjoy this book. Thank you again for coming to Alchemy Journal and spending some time with me. I'll be getting a Superhero Smackdown out later this week on Batman versus Superman. I can't wait. It's so intense. Oh my gosh. The only thing they could possibly do right now with that movie is just mess it up between all the cool stuff they're showing in the trailers. Because if the trailers are an exhibition of just part of the awesomeness of that movie, it's going to be epic. So I'll talk to you guys later. I'm Aubrey Force, the Modern Alchemist. This is Alchemy Journal, and we've been talking about books. This is a fun one. Talk to you later.
Is it really surprising that the most powerful man in the world should be a figure of controversy?
We, as a population on this planet, have been looking for a savior.
We're talking about a being whose very existence
They are not telling us the truth.
challenges our own sense of priority in the universe.
Human beings have a horrible track record of
Tragedy.
following people of great
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Chaos.
Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right
We
thing.
know better now, don't we? Devils don't come from hell beneath us.
They brought their warrior.
No, they come from the sky.
The world has been so caught up with what he can do that no one has asked what he should do.
That's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel. Tell me, do you bleed? You will.